Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. It's Good Friday, whatever that means. Do y'all know what Good Friday means? I always know Good Friday is like the Friday before Easter. Hey, Cheryl T. Good morning. Melanie. Been missing you. Vicky. Sapphire. Mike. Good morning. How's everyone doing? My goodness, I'm having a hard time getting going this morning. I've been busy as heck. If anybody's messaged me on Discord, I've really not had time to respond. Y'all, these dogs are killing me. I love them with all my heart. They're like my kids, but they are working me to death. Every time I sit down, I have to get straight back up. It's the life of a dog, Mom, but I need a vacation. Can I come and visit somebody for a week? Hey, Tracker, Misty. Tracker 3. Cool name. Um, hey, Cement Shoes. Tell Melissa good morning. So, this morning, we're going to be talking about Letecia Stauch. I don't even know if I spelled her name correctly, but who cares? She's a loser. She's a monster. We're going to be talking about her because I saw an article where she had sent a judge a letter, and we actually have that letter. We can take a look at it. Let Skylar in, hun, please. And also, we're going to be, let's see, I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah, the body cam footage from Alex Cox. Melanie, Christina, I can relate. Oh my gosh, Melanie, these animals are killing me. Um, and also, there is another case out of Idaho I want to talk about. It's pretty horrific. A man and his wife abused and killed a little 9-year-old boy by the name of Emmerich Osuna. And the details are pretty horrific, so just want to prepare y'all. So, what should we do first? Should we watch the body cam footage first or talk about Letecia first? What do I have pulled up? Hate is a strong word, and I hate Letecia Stauch. Hey, when I read you this, Melanie, you're going to be saying to yourself, this woman has a severe mental illness. She is not in this reality. That's what you're going to be saying to yourself. Okay, let's get started. We'll do Letecia first because I've already got that pulled up, and I think I have that in my title first. Even though I think I have Alex in the thumbnail first. Oh, crap, I showed the wrong thing. Oh, crap. Getting ahead of myself, getting excited. I'm going to tell you what, after I read that one article about Emmerich Osuna this morning, I had to stop a couple times reading it. It got to me. This little boy suffered abuse for months and months and months. We'll also be talking about this little boy on the side here. His mom tried to overdose him for some insurance money. Okay. Alleged killer step monster accuses 2 men of killing 12-year-old Gannon Stauch in newly released letter to the judge. Let's scroll down to the letter. Right here is the letter, and let me just tell you, she uses some fancy-wancy words in here that I couldn't even freaking pronounce. I tried this morning, and I was like, Jesus Christ, lady, just write normal. You don't got to use these fancy words just to try to make people think you're smart. Jesus Christ. A newly released letter written to a Colorado judge by alleged child murderer Letecia Stauch provided details on why she decided to represent herself and remove her legal team. Letecia is accused of killing her stepson, 12-year-old Gannon, in January 2020 at their home in Fountain near Colorado Springs. She is currently behind bars at the El Paso County Jail in Colorado, facing multiple charges, including felony murder. In February, Letecia sent a letter to Judge Gregory Werner with the intent to represent herself during her own murder trial, after her defense team allegedly showed a lack of ability to gather evidence. Crime Online obtained a copy of that letter on March 30th. Stauch wrote that her defense team tried to push her away from going to trial, adding that the lawyers were friends with the district attorney and wanted to sabotage her chances by scheduling a competency evaluation with a mental health professional who was clearly an actress and friends with the DA. This woman's delusional. Stauch also stated she has been in and out of mental health evaluations and treatments for numerous years, but claimed her defense team couldn't couldn't get access to her records. Instead, according to Stauch, a hired private investigator obtained the records for her. I call bullshit. I tell you this because it sets the stage on why I can't work with my attorneys, Stauch wrote. See, this woman, she gonna represent herself because she thinks she's smarter than everyone else. She thinks she's that intelligent that she can represent herself in a court of law and be acquitted. Delusional. Stauch also alleged that 2 men are responsible for Gannon's death, although the names of the men weren't included in the letter. In September 2020, Stauch revealed to Crime Online the identities of 2 men she blamed for the boy's death, but authorities have not named anyone as a suspect, aside from Letecia Stauch herself. Stauch also noted that she has a biological son she is trying to protect. Crime Online couldn't independently verify that Stauch has a son. A family member confirmed that, as far as they know, Stauch only has one biological child, a daughter. Is she schizophrenic? Is she hallucinating this stuff? Does she really think she's got a son? All this woman does is lie. Gosh. Further, the suspect noted that she will protect the drugs and violence documented from my stepson. What? Further, the suspect noted that she will protect the drugs and violence documented from my stepson. There has been no public evidence to suggest that Gannon, who was her only stepson, had any issues with violence or drugs. People knew the young boy described him as loving, kind, generous, and tender-hearted, just like my son. In a previous jailhouse interview with Crime Online, Letecia claimed that she found a blunt and a powdery substance inside the boy's backpack. For y'all that don't know, a blunt is a big old joint rolled up, marijuana. When asked if she meant Gannon's backpack, Stauch confirmed, adding that one of Gannon's friends had also been hiding the substance. Stauch said she could not confirm what the substance was. This is the first time I've ever heard of this. I do not believe it. I do not believe it. If he had a blunt in his backpack, that bitch put it in there. Judge Werner ultimately granted Stauch the right to act as her own lawyer, according to the district attorney, Michael Allen. It will not change anything in the way the prosecution proceeds. We're also going to make sure we satisfy that burden of proof, regardless if someone has an attorney or if they're representing themselves, Allen said. I always think to myself, what if that was my son? Someone did that too. A step monster did too. Oh my goodness. I'd be in prison. I know I would. Okay, so let's read what happened to Gannon. Last year, prosecutors said in a 32-page affidavit that probable cause exists to believe that Letecia Stauch murdered her stepson. Text messages and internet searches indicate that Stauch may have possibly been overwhelmed with taking care of Gannon. Searches allegedly found on Stauch's phone included, in part, find real military singles. Parenting should be for people, not one. I'm doing all the work for my stepkids and their mom doesn't help. She also searched, I wonder if my husband's wife is sending me a card since I raise her kids. Why should my husband choose me over family? One day, some people will wish they treated you differently. She searched that. And she also searched, find me a rich guy who wants me to take care of his kids. Lady, nobody wants your crazy ass taking care of their kids. You done murdered one kid. Based on Letecia's internet history, it's reasonable to believe she was unhappily married to Mr. Stauch and had some degree of resentment towards the family as a step-parent. The affidavit read, furthermore, days before Gannon's murder, Letecia appeared to be researching a move to another state to a 2-bedroom apartment. Al Stauch was on a work trip with the U.S. National Guards in Oklahoma when his son vanished. Gannon's biological mother, Landon Hyatt, is that how you say that? Hyatt, was in South Carolina. Gannon's body was found months later under a bridge in Pace, Florida. According to the affidavit, Stauch brutally attacked and killed Gannon inside his bedroom on January 27, 2020. Despite a neighbor who said his video showed Stauch leaving with Gannon that morning and later returning home alone, investigators believe that Gannon likely did return home with Letecia that afternoon and died inside the residence. Evidence from inside Gannon's bedroom includes blood spatter on the walls, blood that soaked through the carpet, 50 droplets of blood on the wall sockets, and blood on the boy's mattress. Based on the orientation of Gannon's bed, the vast majority of the blood would be in line with the position of his head and torso, the affidavit read. A store receipt obtained by investigators showed a purchase for baking soda, a carpet cleaner, and trash bags on January 27th after 6 p.m. Investigators obtained Letecia's phone, and according to text messages, she instructed her 17-year-old daughter to buy the items for her. Prosecutors alleged that Stauch used the purchased items to clean up the crime scene. Investigators said the 17-year-old was likely not present when Gannon was killed. Letecia Stauch is facing charges of murder in the first degree, child under 12 in a position of trust, child abuse resulting in death, tampering with a deceased human body, tampering with physical evidence. Now, they got down here some things that you can click. Additional information, part 1, Letecia Stauch interview. I did click these this morning, and I was watching the neighbor's security footage, and his cameras and stuff are through Xfinity, so it had the date and time on it. So he wasn't confused about the date and time. But anyways, it did show Gannon getting into the truck, and he did not look like he was in good shape. He did not look like he was all there. It looked like she was trying to help him into the vehicle. So I am just wondering. Of course, you couldn't see no blood, but I was just thinking, could she have shot him in the bedroom and made him walk outside? Because when she returned in that surveillance video, Gannon was not with her. Investigators say that he was, but the video doesn't show that. And here's something I found interesting. I didn't know. When Gannon was, my browser quit screen sharing. When Gannon was first reported missing, he was reported missing as a runaway. Letecia reported him missing as a runaway. Let's look at her letter here. I'm not going to read all this because, for one, I can't see it good. And two, her writing's horrible. And three, she uses words I can't even pronounce. Some of them I couldn't even read because her writing's so horrible. I know she tried to use those fancy words because she was writing to a judge, but I'm sure the judge would appreciate it if she'd just been normal. You know, using fancy words don't mean that you're smart. Anyways, this letter goes on. And she just talks about the conspiracy against her with her lawyers and the district attorney. Newsflash, lady, let me tell you something. Here in my county, the lawyers and the district attorney have lunch together. And the judges sometimes. That's just the way it is. That don't mean that they discuss cases while they're out to lunch and stuff. I mean, it's a small town, small courthouse, you know. Okay, let me look at my chat for a minute. Y'all probably know more about this case than I do because I was following the Evelyn Boswell case when this was going down, and I just couldn't handle following this case too. That looks like a fan letter of a 13-year-old would write to a boy band. It's horrible. I mean, goodness gracious. If you're going to write a letter to the judge, at least have good penmanship. Come on now. Now, don't that seem like, from what I just read, don't it seem like she's not in her right mind? Like she lives in her own world. Really. And now she's got a kid. Now she's got a son. She's protecting a son that nobody knows about. Is it possible that she could have had a kid when she was young, hid her pregnancy, and give the kid away? Yeah, but that didn't happen. This woman, all she does is lie, lie, lie. Let me tell you, she resented Gannon. She didn't want to take care of him. And she resented Gannon because she hated Gannon's biological mother. She was very jealous of her. That is my opinion. Now, I just want to know, did she ever abuse Gannon's sister? Gannon's biological sister. Can you imagine what Gannon's mother feels like now? You know, the guilt she must feel for Gannon not living with her and stuff. You know, it's not her fault what happened to Gannon. It's Letecia's fault. I mean, you know, Gannon's mom thought that he was safe with his dad. And I think the reason Al had custody of them is, what's her name, Landon, couldn't take care of them, you know, financially at the time. But she was in her kid's life. They used to visit her and things. I would have been proud to have such a son. He would have never had one unhappy day in his life. He'd still be right here living. Look, she's trying to victim bash. Now she's going to accuse little, how old was he, 11 years old? Little Gannon of having a blunt in his backpack in a powdery substance. If he had that in his backpack, that witch put it in there to set that kid up. Now, I did experiment with weed when I was probably about 12 years old, but I don't think Gannon was doing that. I don't believe nothing that witch says. I hope she burns in hell. She's not going to get the death penalty because evidently they abolished it in Colorado. See, she's a 5th grader. Jealous of a little 5th grader. What a weirdo. You could tell by her internet searches she didn't want to take care of him. I mean, she searched, is my husband's ex going to send me a card for taking care of her kids? Like, who searches that? Like, Google can answer that? Like, what in the hell? Yeah, and who cares anyways? Why murder him? I think she either snapped or she had been beaten on him and she was afraid he was going to tell. I think she snapped on him. I think she hated Gannon. She was so jealous of Gannon's mother, and she resented Gannon. Probably every time she looked at Gannon, she thought about Gannon's mother. That's probably the way her warped mind thinks. I've dealt with people that's been jealous of kids before. I've known people like that before. And they're usually jealous of the kid because, well, actually, they resent the kid because they're jealous of the ex. Pure evil, immature. Okay, so let's move on. Prayers for Al and Landon. Do y'all remember that interview that Letecia did? She was outside talking to a news reporter. It was in Colorado. Her daughter was there. She tried to get her daughter to come on camera and verify some things. But anyways, they asked her why she's not at the house. And she's like, well, Landon's there. So what happened was Al put Letecia out of the house. Right after, you know, police led him around the house and showed him where all they found the blood and stuff. He put Leticia's ass out, and Landon was staying there. She needed a place to stay. She lived in another state, you know, her son's missing. But anyway, she made a comment about it on camera. Jealous as hell. I love when stupid criminals Google everything and the cops don't really have much left to do. But cuff, stuff, book, and cook. Yep. Gosh, I mean, I'm glad that they are dumb. But damn, if you're going to do a crime, you should not have your cell phone on you or anything like that. Have GPS in your vehicle. You can't get away with murder. You just can't. I mean, people have before. It's very rare. You always leave some kind of trace evidence behind. Anyways. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, I need to get that body cam footage. Now, some of this body cam footage, this footage is from the day Alex Cox died. And his wife is a weirdo, y'all. Wait till y'all hear some of the things she says. She wants the cops to leave her house. And they're like, hey, we're not trying to upset your kids or anything, but he died here. The death happened here. Someone died in your house. We got to investigate. And you know what her response is? He actually didn't die here. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. And the cop says, but it originated here. God, I mean, gosh, what a bunch of weirdos. Let me see. Let me get it pulled up. I think there's an... Let me mute it till the ad gets done. Boy, East Idaho News has done excellent coverage of this case. They really have. Nate, he is awesome. Where's my volume? Okay. Let me screen share. There's no volume when it first starts, I guess. Let's watch what happens. There's no volume right now, guys. Oh, I better mute myself.
If you have all your stuff ready to go.
You have entitled or legal stuff?
Entitled on our back, so you come over here and you let me know and we'll go ahead and swap out for you. Hey Chief, there's a suction downstairs.
I don't know. Dave, do you see the suction unit
Right
there?
here at the base. Would you mind bringing
Yeah, I
that
got
up?
it, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and back up a little bit while we get our stuff on.
Yep.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Hey, good, Jeff. Did you guys have, you said you got more info?
Our detectives are coming out. If you guys are not transporting them, just leave them be because we have other stuff to do at the house.
Okay, we always do. If we pronounce them here, we'll keep it as a crime scene, so. Anything else with drugs, anything else that she's not telling us?
We don't know. One of our detective sergeants.
Somebody's been working something on him?
Yeah, I have no idea what it is or what's going on. Yeah.
I don't know why they blurred this crap out. It's annoying, though.
Yeah. What round are you guys on? Are you still doing CCR or are you in the No,
we're out of there now.
Okay. It's not flatline, it's basically PDA, so it's still showing a rhythm, but there's no pulse associated with it though. So this would be, if he still stays with that little bit of a rhythm, it'll probably get transported, but they'll probably make a phone call if he goes in the system and then we'll pronounce it right.
Okay.
We'll
Yeah.
hear about it.
Whatever you guys need to do.
Okay.
Hey, do you want a booty or anything?
No, I don't know that that'll help. I'm going to make fun of you. Can't see it because
Jesse, watch your foot there. Your right foot.
Here, let me throw this at you. Alright, here you go. You're close.
Just from walking around the house, my assumption would be.
I wish the audio was louder, but it's not.
Down there.
Probably says, you know, it's just Seattle, so the only thing that's down, but so that time comes out. We didn't see anything, but.
Right. Usually people don't have the blow torches around.
I got that. Switch maybe needs to, right?
Yeah.
You got one? There you go.
Go ahead and back up a couple extra ones. All ready?
ready?
Yeah. Oh, wait, sorry. Safety first.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Tony, you're still not seeing anything else in that room? We're still looking for a wall. She said the license is up here. We have.
Anybody wants to get eyes on the bathroom? I'm been in there.
No one's been in, so that you found that bathroom. They brought him out. I didn't see anything just from.
Alright, keep pausing.
Yeah, I don't know if he's swelling or if it's secretions or what's going on, but it's just.
Sorry.
Should be right there.
Assuming that's his phone, so
Yeah.
his son found him.
Anything maybe in the bathtub or something?
All right, go ahead and feed my tube. You can continue.
Can't really see anything obvious unless it's over.
Title's 8. I don't think we've ever gotten above 10.
Okay. Go pull my Gucci.
How much do you got?
Hey, Andy, your history is he was still moaning. Son found him still moaning, trying to move, and then from there went out. Wife did a little bit of CPR, and then you got here.
So this is, all right, we're
There was witness.
Andy, let's listen to some lung sounds.
right.
You got good compliance?
Yeah. Timothy 4.
You throw me some ears?
I got some right here.
They got some.
You got it?
Go ahead.
What's your rhythm there, Andy?
We got an inside of 12, so that just went up.
What's your
Grab me.
what cardiac rhythm still PEA?
Tony,
We got a wait
Tony?
for him.
can I have the endo lock?
I got another clip that you can hear Zulema in. And that's not the clip, but she tells the officer, she's like, my kids have already been through enough. Is there any way you could take this investigation outside? And he said, ma'am, we're not here to upset anyone or stress anyone out, but he died here. So, we're going to be here investigating, as long as we have to be. And she says, but he actually didn't die here. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. And that's when the officer tells her, but it originated here, But she wanted them out of the house as quick as possible. Why? So weird. Hey, Zoe, welcome, by the way. It's so weird. Anyways, I just wanted to share that with y'all. Too bad they blurred it out. I don't know why they blurred that crap out for. They should have just blurred his body out. I could kind of see his body laying in there in the bathroom, couldn't y'all? But it was blurred out when the officer walked there. So weird. Here he croaks over like what? A day after they exhumed Tammy Daybell's body. And police were investigating Alex Cox over Tammy's death. If I can remember correctly, there was something about his phone that led investigators to believe that he may have been involved in her death. Hey, Natalie. How you been, girl? Zulema is going to cut a deal, in my opinion. And here's another thing about Zulema, Alex's wife. He'd only been married to her for a short time anyway. She told investigators that she barely knew her sister-in-law, Lori Vallow. But Zulema's daughter told a different story. She said Zulema and Lori were very close and they both were preppers. Y'all know what a prepper is. They prep for doomsday. So she was right into this nonsense too. She's a complete weirdo to marry Alex Cox. And here's another thing they say about Alex. He was all religious and all this. I have watched some of his stand-up comedy and he talks completely vulgar. Not very Christian-like in my opinion. You're so right. Why would she want them to leave ASAP? Thank you. I don't know. That is so weird. I would never, ever say that to a cop, especially when someone passed away in my house. I'd be getting out of their way, She didn't seem that upset either. I mean, people handle death differently. Everybody handles it differently, but, I would have been out of hell. Crap, my dog had a seizure in the kitchen yesterday morning and I was screaming help and panicked out. Let me look at the chat. I saw something short and I said, where'd it go? Gosh, I can't see even with glasses. He knew he was dying, getting a blessing from Chad. The Chad and Lori calls Zulema and tells her it's time. Fishy. Oh, yeah, he did get some kind of blessing from Chad before he died. I forgot about that short. Now, what was that? Just some kind of blessing. Alex Cox was less funny even than Carrot Top. I never could stand Carrot Top. Well, Alex Cox, he was grabbing his private parts and everything in his stand-up comedy routine. It's not very Christian-like. I don't see other Christians going and doing stand-up comedy and grabbing their penis. Excuse my language. I mean, they might do some comedy, but they're not vulgar. I can't stand vulgar people, guys. I know I get mad and I cuss a little bit, but I just cannot stand somebody to cuss over breath. It's a major turnoff, and to talk vulgar. I don't even watch people on YouTube that talk like that. I just can't handle it. Here I see a cold case. Nephew's DNA helps close cold case murder of 15-year-old aunt killed 7 years. I will have to look at that in a minute. I want to share another case with y'all that has really, really upset me this morning. And we talked about this case back in September. This little boy's name is Emrick Osuna. I wonder if they're from Hawaii or something. I don't know the correct term. Samoanian or something. Okay, let me get the main article instead of the Crime Online one. This little boy was tortured for months. And I warn you, it's very graphic what I'm getting ready to read to y'all. I may actually have to take a break reading it. Okay. Scroll, damn it. What's wrong with my mouse? Nanny cameras captures abuse of Meridian boy at center of murder case. And this happened in Idaho. Emrick Osuna, 9, died in September after months of forced exercises, starvation, physical beatings, prosecutors say amounted to torture. And his dad and his stepmom tortured him, but the stepmom done most of the abuse. She would call him an effing loser and everything. Let me just read this. Note, this article contains graphic descriptions of violence and abuse that may be unsuitable for all readers. The little boy is standing in the kitchen, placed on one leg, both arms raised above his head. The child in the video is shirtless and painfully thin, his entire rib cage protruding from his skin. His hair hangs into his face as he wobbles to keep his balance. His arms shake. He is staring straight ahead. Emrick Osuna has 1 day left to live. A judge on Wednesday ruled there is enough probable cause to bind the Meridian 9-year-old's father and stepmother, Eric and Monique Osuna, up to district court on first-degree murder charges in Emrick's death. The pair is accused of abusing Emrick for months leading up to his September 1st death through forced exercise, starvation, and physical beatings, torture that continued until the boy's body gave out and he died. Crucial to the case is video footage of the abuse that was captured on nanny cameras that were installed inside the suspect's Meridian apartment and later recovered by police. Meridian Police Detective Eric Stoffel and Detective Matthew Ferronato said that they were able to review more than 2 weeks of footage leading up to the evening when police found Emrick bruised, covered in vomit, and without a heartbeat on the living room floor. The videos played in court Wednesday displayed the misery, hunger, and fear in which the 9-year-old spent his final days. Viewed together, they present a portrait of a dying child. Look at these two weirdos. That bitch right there has not missed any meals, though, has she? Look at her fat ass. In one recorded on August 21st, Emrick can be seen sleeping in the fetal position on the floor when Monique Osuna grabs him by the hair, swinging him through the air like a rag doll. She drags him into the kitchen, screams at him to begin doing jumping jacks, then slaps him violently over and over and over. Monique later switches to smashing a spoon down onto Emrick's head repeatedly as he shrieks, cries, and tries to shield himself from the blows. Ferronato testified that the attack was apparently punishment for Emrick getting up in the night and drinking from cups that had been left out. Bless his sweetheart. Other videos show Monique Osuna kicking Emrick across the room, yanking his hair and hitting him repeatedly with a frying pan. She can be heard calling her stepson an effing loser and a piece of shit, as well as telling him that she was going to make him eat his own feces and drink his own urine. Eric Osuna is seen once in the footage hitting Emmerich with the belt. He did not physically or verbally abuse the boy as often as Monique, Farinado said, but often ignored his son and did not intervene when Monique was beating or screaming at him. The child was also forced to do grueling physical exercises for long periods of time, including wall sits, one-legged stands, and inchworms, an exercise in which the boy was forced to walk out his hands from a standing position into a plank, then back to a standing position, raising his arms at the end and starting over. Each day, I would say over 12 hours a day, or thereabouts, Bernardo said. Sometimes it would go on 20-plus hours of constant exercise. Jesus. In the 2 weeks of footage detectives watched, Farinado said, not once does a member of the family show affection or positive attention towards Emmerich. Not once does he play with a toy or a game. When his siblings' father and stepmonster eat fast food for dinner, he gets none. When they head to the bedrooms for the night, he curls up on the living room floor or is forced to sleep in a hallway closet. Look at him, bless his sweetheart. I can imagine what he went through. Eric Osuna told the police later that morning of September 1st, Monique hit the boy twice with the dog leash, then gave him some rice and water, which he threw up. After a shower, Emmerich was forced again to do one-legged stand, but was eventually permitted to lie down on the floor. By 5 p.m. that evening, it was clear something was wrong with the 9-year-old. In a text to his wife, Eric wrote that they needed to take Emmerich to the emergency room and face it. If you don't want to, that's fine. I'll go, he wrote. I know you're scared. I am too. How about how scared Emmerich was when y'all abused him for freaking months and starved that kid? According to testimony, Monique Osuna at about the same time texted her co-worker and friend Hannah Burry, relaying that Emmerich was unwell. Berry testified that Monique had spoken to her previously about the problems with Emmerich's behavior, complaints that ramped up in the months before the boy's death. Oh, she's pulling the same crap Letecia Stauch did. You know, saying that the kid's a problem when really they're the freaking problem. Berry said she shared an opinion with her friend that the 9-year-old might be reactive attachment disorder, a condition that can affect infants and children who have been neglected or abused. Monique took Emmerich to doctors, but they told her he was a fine kid, Berry testified. At that point, she said, Berry suggested Monique install the nanny cameras to capture the boy's behavior so she would have something to show medical professionals. Berry also told her friend to make Emmerich do exercise as punishment for acting out, although she said on the stand she had not told Monique to force the child to do them for extended periods of time. Berry eventually drove to the couple's apartment, arriving at about 8:30 p.m., to find Emmerich lying motionless on the floor in the living room. He was laying down and he was covered in blankets. I mean, it looked like he was sleeping, she said. Berry testified she held Emmerich's hand and discovered that he was cold to the touch. Well, that means he had been dead for a while if his body was cold. At some point, she said, she advised Emmerich's stepmother and father to put Pedialyte into his mouth with a syringe, which they did. Later, she suggested trying to stand him up to see if he would wake up, but as they lifted the boy up, Berry said he took his last breath. Well, Miss Berry, why didn't you call 911? It was a deep breath, and then it was just silent, she testified. At that point, for the first time, someone in the apartment called 911. A call police say came in at about 9:40 p.m. Monique began performing CPR, causing Emmerich to spew a milky liquid from his mouth and nose, Berry said. Berry and Eric made the 911 call on Monique's phone, placed it on speaker, then handed her a bundle of nanny cams and told her to take them downstairs and put them in her car. Eric Osuna's attorney, Edwina Elcox, questioned why that statement was not picked up on the speakerphone call to the dispatch and asked why she agreed to hide those devices. Yeah, why did you agree to that? Barry responded that Eric Osuna was not speaking loudly and said that she did not realize what the bundle of cameras and cords was, testifying that she believed it was marijuana or drug paraphernalia belonging to Eric. She said she did not immediately tell police what she had put in her car because she was in shock and could not recall what she had removed from the apartment. Hey, you find a kid dying on the floor and somebody hands you a bunch of stuff and tells you to get rid of it, you ought to know something's up, lady. You should have been able to see that this kid had been abused as soon as you looked at him. Meridian police officer Scott Frazier said that when he arrived to the apartment shortly after the call to 911, he saw the 9-year-old lying on the carpet with his head towards the floor. Monique was frantic and in tears. Yeah, because she knew she was going to be cuffed and stuffed. While both Barry and Eric Osuna seemed more stoic. At first, Frazier said he thought the child must have been suffering from a serious long-term illness. He was very emaciated. He appeared ill. His eyes were sunk into his head. He was pale, he said. See, if he noticed that, why didn't that Barry woman notice that? Frazier asked Monique what the boy's diagnosis was. She replied that he had ADHD, he testified. Frazier and another officer traded off performing CPR until paramedics arrived and took over. The paramedics stripped off Emmerich's clothes as they treated him, Frazier said, revealing dark bruises from his inner thigh that stretched over his butt, all the way up to his lower back. Jesus. Emmerich also had trauma to his penis, which the officer described as appearing as someone had left a tightened rubber band around it. Jesus Christ. That's probably what the bitch did. And that son of a bitch. Jana Reed with the Ada County paramedics testified that Emmerich was wearing a diaper, which she thought was unusual for a 9-year-old. When I asked why he was in a diaper, I was told he kept wetting himself, so I put a diaper on him, she testified. He kept wetting himself because he wasn't allowed to go to the bathroom. Surprised the boy could even pee. He wasn't given anything to drink. Emmerich had no pulse and was not breathing, Reed said. Vomit was caked in his hair and around his face. Paramedics were able to get his heart beating again after about 20 minutes and rushed him to St. Luke's in Meridian. Emmerich was later transferred to the pediatric ICU at St. Luke's Children's Hospital in downtown Boise, where he died. A later report found the boy weighed 44 pounds at the time of his death. Meridian Police Detective Joseph Miller said that Monique Osuna first claimed that her stepson had been injured while playing rough with a group of neighborhood boys who had hit on him with the dog leash. Under questioning, however, she admitted that she had been abusing Emmerich since the beginning of the year, Miller testified, with violence towards the boy escalating after the birth of her infant daughter 4 months prior. Oh, look at him. Monique Osuna told Miller that she had hit the 9-year-old with a wetted belt, leash, back scratcher, wooden spoon, and a frying pan. It's a wonder she didn't kill him hitting him with that frying pan right then and there. Sometimes beating the boy with a pan every day for months, she said. She said she thought it would teach him a lesson, Miller said. She said she was harder on him. She said she lashed out at him, hitting him with the pan, making him exercise while she worked, and that he only took a break when she took a break. Both defendants are set to enter a plea in district court on April 26. First-degree murder is punishable up to life in prison or the death penalty. They deserve the death penalty. They really do. Look how happy he was to be with those pilots. Bless his heart. When I was reading this morning, I had to stop a couple times. And I would say to myself, Jesus Christ, Lord have mercy. I mean, it just really got to me. This is why I like to talk about abused children on here, to bring awareness to it. People don't realize how many kids are abused in this country every day. Right now, as we speak, there are kids being tortured here in this world, being held captive in basements, bedrooms, locked in, deprived of food and everything. Definitely a death penalty case when it comes to children. Yes, I think if, you're going to abuse children, murder children, molest, rape children, you deserve the death penalty. Automatic death penalty. How could anybody sit there and let some bitch beat on their kid? Now, that son of a bitch beat on him too, but he wasn't as bad as Monique. He didn't verbally assault the boy or hit the boy as often, they said. Which, does that really matter? He was still abusing him. But she was worse, is my point. And it said the abuse escalated once she had her own kid. Here's the thing, guys. If you know someone and they're constantly going on their stepkid and making up all these crazy stories, hey, that's a major red flag. If that woman had been talking to me about Emmerich, I would have known automatically, hey, she's got some resentment here going on. I'm very observant, though. I really am. But, guys, if you suspect abuse, please pick up the phone and report it. If you really, really suspect abuse and something is telling you something's not right in such and such's house, pick up the phone and report it. If nothing's wrong, no harm, no foul, the case will be closed. But if you suspect something, report it. You could save a child's life. You could save them from being tortured and eventually murdered. Now, I know a lot of people abuse the CPS system and they make fake calls and all this because they're pissed off at somebody. And people like that are a real problem because those cases have to be investigated and that takes away from the real abuse cases. That's how they get all this case overload and stuff. Hey, Emily, stoning is a good story. I'm so glad to see you, Emily. How have you been? Red Rum, how are you? I said that about stoning Emily. I didn't know that they still did women like that over there in Saudi Arabia and places like that. I didn't know that. I'm just talking about these child molesters, child murderers, and abusers should be stoned to death. They should dig them a hole, like bury them in the dirt, sand, and only have their heads sticking up, and stone them to death. The whole community should take part in it. I know that sounds brutal. I sound awful for it. I know what it's like to be an abused child. I know what it feels like. The panic, the fear, and in a kid's mind, they think it's never going to stop, and there's no way out. There's no escape. And, these abusers will convince kids that people won't believe them, and a lot of kids won't say anything about it. If you see something, say something. 1-800-for-a-child. 1-800-422-4453. Yes, how they treat women in Saudi Arabia is awful. Yeah, somebody told me that in the chat after I said that about stoning, and I felt so bad because those women do not deserve that. Now, I'm only saying stoning for these child killers and rapists. The system needs an override. Yes, Mike, these stories make me so upset that people like this are allowed to have children and treat them this way. When me and my spouse are unable to have a child and have been waiting a year to adopt, and we are good people. Oh, Mike, it'll happen for you, Mike. I really believe it will. Prayers for you and your spouse. I know y'all would make wonderful parents. Now, I don't know your spouse, but I know you a little bit, and I can tell you're a good guy. You really are. You're very sweet with your animals and stuff, and you're just very respectful. See, it makes me so mad because people like Mike and his spouse could give a kid a really good home and give them love and get them a good education, all that good stuff. And then you got these other weirdos that get to adopt kids and abuse them, or have kids and abuse them. It's bullcrap. Short Night says, Happy Easter. Oh, crap, I forgot about Easter. Yeah, I got to get busy. My son's not into Easter baskets anymore, but I'm still going to make some cookies. And I sort of say stepmom. Crap. Mother-in-law will cook. All that good stuff. Mike, you will be a blessing. Oh, yes, Mike will. Yeah, he's very intelligent man. Very kind and loving. I'm sure his spouse is the same way. It'll happen for you, Mike. It will. Have you ever thought about getting a surrogate? If I was younger, I'd be your surrogate. Give you a child. For real. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so I got one more case to share with y'all before I have to be getting off here. But I got a good video to end the stream. It's an animal video. Let me find this other case. This woman was trying to kill her son, OD him, so she could collect the life insurance policy. These cases this morning has took it out of me. Emmerich's case really bothered me. Oh, crap. I forgot to show y'all Charles Fallow's obituary. I found it online. You can plant a tree. I may do that for him. Okay, let me get the ads down. I don't know a lot of details about this case. I didn't get to read it all. I just know that she tried to OD this little boy so she could collect life insurance money. 6 years old. I don't even know if he died. Texas mom gives 6-year-old son drug overdose for $100K insurance payout. That's what the prosecutors say. A Texas mom has been charged with killing her 6-year-old son, so he did die, last year to collect $100K in insurance. Ashley Marks, 25, was denied bail on Thursday after her arrest a day earlier. Prosecutors say Marks gave Jason Sanchez Marks lethal doses of over-the-counter drugs as well as methamphetamine, court records say. A toxicology report says the boy had cocaine in his system. We'll watch that little video in a minute. The boy and his 4-year-old sister were living with their grandfather at the time of Jason's death. They had been under his care since they were diagnosed with tuberculosis in April 2020, and their mother had been coming over to give them medications. The little girl, however, refused to take the medicine, according to Child Protective Services report. The grandfather said he repeatedly contacted the mother over a 2-day period, notifying her that the 6-year-old child was ill, projectile vomiting, hallucinating, unable to sleep. That's because she gave him meth. That's why he was unable to sleep and hallucinating. But neither the mother nor the grandfather sought medical attention for the 6-year-old as the child's condition worsened, CPS said. On June 27th, the grandfather found the boy unresponsive and called 911. Marks reportedly also called police and asked for a welfare check, telling police the grandfather told her, "Come get the kids. I no longer want to care for them." The boy was dead when officers arrived. Prosecutors said Marks gave Jason toxic levels of, let me see if I can pronounce this, chlorophenermine, dextromethane or something, and diphenhydramine with methamphetamine as well as narcotics, according to the documents. Prosecutors said Marks wanted to collect on 2 life insurance policies that totaled $100,000. CPS said the little girl is now living with her father. Okay, so why is the grandfather not in trouble for calling 911? I get panicked out when my son's sick, when my dogs are sick, especially when my son was little and he had an earache one time and was running a high fever. We immediately took him to the emergency room. And then he had the flu one time, and they gave him a prescription of Tamiflu. I got home, I gave it to him, and Timothy flopped out on the floor on me. And we had to take him back to the emergency room. Immediately, we were in the car on the way to the emergency room. So I just don't understand people. I guess some people don't panic, but hey, when a kid's sick, no matter how little it is, take them to the freaking doctor. Especially, when they're hallucinating and things, or high fever. What the hell's wrong with people? That's neglect on the grandfather's part. They was under his care. That kid looks younger than Gannon. He is. How old did I say he was? 6 years old? I don't think I took any notes on it. Yeah, 6 years old. Yeah, there my notes is. I didn't take good notes this morning because I had a hectic morning. Yeah, his mother's only, well, let's not call her mother. Monster, Ashley Mark, is only 26 years old. How could you do that? Want to kill your kid for money. Money is the root to all evil, they say. Hey, Mark. Hey, David. I missed you, honey. Welcome. Welcome to the chat. I'm sorry about that. So, guys, we're going to close the stream out with a video on how hard it is to be a mama bear. The struggle is real. Let me find the video. Oh, I'll have to get out of my chat. This is the cutest video. I mean, even mama bears struggle. Kids are a handful. Let me get it pulled up. Get the ad down. I need YouTube Premium, but I have so many subscriptions. Hold on. I just can't afford another one. I pay for StreamYards every month, like $25. Think about that. Like $25 for a year. It's a lot of money. I have to. We gotta have an intro video and stuff.
Video that every parent can relate to. We've shown you this video of Mama Bear having a hard time getting her 4 cubs across the road. And today we hear from the woman who actually recorded the video that has now gone viral. Jeannie Moss reports.
Mama bear and 4 cubs stopped traffic in Connecticut trying to cross a road. Mom has her paws full, not to mention her mouth. A 3rd cub crosses. No, make that prances to the other side. 3 across and 1 to go. Uh-oh, the 4th cub is up a pole. Mom to the rescue, but wait, someone's back. It can be a drag wrangling 4 little ones. This is something any human mom can relate to.
Go, babies, go!
Robin Cavelli, mother of 4, shot the video and said of the pole climber in particular,
"He reminded me so much of my son. I could just hear myself yelling, 'Get down off of that pole, get across the street, you're making a scene here.'"
Someone on Twitter posted, "Aw, someone should get out of their car and help." Somebody else put the wise in wise guy by replying, "You want to be mauled? Because that's how you get mauled." Meanwhile, Mom was gently mauling her babies. Robin Cavelli's takeaway?
Just how hard it is to be a mom, and especially 4 babies, and I really felt for the mom.
Scottish comedian Janie Godley supplied bear narration.
Oh, jeez, I've not got a minute to myself. You, come here, Mammy. Oh, that's my ear, Mammy.
And just when it seemed all 4 were safely across, one of the cubs made a break for it, crossing the double yellow line. Mom was forced once again to take matters into her mouth as another cub followed in her footsteps.
Aww.
This is the kind of behavior that inspires lame jokes like, "Why did the bear cross the road to get to the other cub?" Jeannie Moss, CNN, New York.
Oh, Mama's work.
A mama's work is never done, y'all. The struggle is real. Oh, happy birthday to your oldest, Emily. Hope they have a wonderful birthday. I'm a mama bear. My oldest turned 50 Wednesday. Oh, my goodness. I'm a mama bear, too. Like, I'm a mama grizzly bear. Hey, people are so ignorant. Like, why didn't you get out and help her? Like, that mama bear would have mauled someone to death for getting near her cubs. I love the bear story, too, Zoe. I didn't know that bears, I mean, I knew that they could have several babies, but usually only like 1 or 2 of them survive. So it was good to see all 4 cubs. I hope they all make it. I watched this channel here on YouTube where the bears are tagged by the game wardens, I guess. But anyways, the bears are pretty people friendly. This one guy films and the bears come up on his porch. Sometimes he shoos them off, but there's a whole crew of them that come. I'll try to find that channel and share it in Discord and a community post. Well, guys, I'm going to get off here. I got my little Yorkie over here grunting at me. She's been aggravating me for hours because I fried sausage this morning and she wants a bite, which I did give her a bite and there's no more, and she just keeps on grunting over it. Hopefully the weather warms up so we can do some of our evening porch streams. Y'all have a good Friday. Have a good Easter weekend. Be safe. Be kind. And peace. And y'all will probably be seeing me either this evening or probably tomorrow evening for just some chit chat on the porch. Anyways, love y'all. Thanks for your support. Thanks for chatting. Bye. Happy Easter. Happy April.